Over 2,000 years ago, ancient Chinese scholars observed the changing patterns in our natural world, the climate, the turning of the seasons, and astronomy. The scholars measured and divided the sun's annual movements into 24 equal parts, creating the 24 solar terms, which were used to govern agriculture in ancient China. Even to this day, this invention still guides the lives and traditions of hundreds of millions of Chinese people. Towards the end of September, it's the autumn equinox time. Day and night are equally long. Summer and winter are equally far apart. Farmers are busy bringing in the harvest, and every mid-autumn festival, families get together for a bit of moon worship. The autumn equinox is midway through autumn and marks the beginning of deepest autumn. The most obvious change is in the color of the trees. They're so vivid they could be in an oil painting. After this solar term, there's no more thunder. The insects that woke up in the third solar term Jingzhe are either dying or looking for a safe place to survive the winter. Dunhuang is in northwestern China, in a transitional region between Badain-Jaran and Taklamakan deserts. It used to be on the main thoroughfare of the Silk Road trade route. I came over here for autumn equinox solar term to explore deep into the hinterland of China and take in this incredible desert oasis. We can imagine that ever since the Han Dynasty of 2,200 years ago, European businessmen, looking a bit like me, have been here leading teams of camel, transporting bundles of silk and other material from China around the world. Massive wealth flowed along the Silk Road to China as well. China at the time was one of the chief trading nations of the world. Now, Dunhuang has lost its pivotal position in global trade. But this Gobi Desert is still a sacred place for Chinese people yearning for a distant past. There's a rhyming couplet for this season. When days and nights are just as long, hard work just goes on and on. Cropping cycles are the farmer's #1 concern. So the solar terms are extraordinarily clear on planning. And it is set that autumn equinox is when Dunhuang farmers will harvest their cotton.
敦煌这个地方热量充足，降雨很少，这非常有利于棉花生长。特别像是敦煌周边的沙漠，水资源非常紧缺，而且棉花相对于其他作物还是比较抗旱、抗炎，所以在周边缺水盐碱地。作为这个棉花来说，它是一个很好的一个替代这个作物。
Dunhuang is surrounded by desert, so drought and water shortage is pretty common. Because of or in spite of this, it has become an important base for cotton production. This makes me think back to the Xiaoman solar term in Shengze, where there was copious amounts of rain. And the silkworms thrived, raising a whole industry of silk production. Huge differences in regional climate have not limited Chinese creativity over time. For thousands of years, silk and cotton have warmed the backs of Chinese people in different parts of this vast land. Their inventions lie in a key climatic difference between north and south.
我就爱这个东西，棉花会给我一种回忆，让我想到小孩的时候。
我做了这么20多年棉花，刚开始做这个科研的最初的时候呀，我觉得这个农民棉花的产量很低，像这每日至少他结的果桃很少，那时候的产量不到现在的1半。我们把这个通过这个品种选育，一个品种7、8年甚至20年的品种，减少这个灌水量，提高棉花的品质与产量。我们做科研主要就是呢，让他们高高兴兴的种棉花。
This is one of the most important cotton production sites in China, and it is also the largest colored cotton testing station in the country. Station Master Feng Keyun is in charge.
这边还有不同的品种是吧？
对，咱们可以不前入
谢
看看。
谢谢谢。
到这就可以。
哦，这种的，
就是这个棉花呢，长出来以后，它前面长出来，它自己就本身带有自己的颜色，不需要染色。染色需要大量的水，浪费水资源。随着这个咱们这个有机环保低碳的这个国家这个政策的推行呢，它有很大的发展潜力的。只要出口的纱线，把它纺成线以后，出口的国。目前每亩地比普通白棉，
它不是
每亩是增加纯利润可以增加到500元。这敦煌现在已经有1万亩的基地，目前就是国内来说是绿色棉，这个绿棉是国内最大的一个生产基地。
The autumn equinox is harvest season in the water-rich regions of China. Farmers are harvesting rice and fruit around about now. But in Dunhuang, just look at the full, light cotton balls that grow on this cracked and salty soil. You have to wonder at the plant's tenacity and how ancient civilizations across China adapted to local conditions. Having said that, cotton doesn't actually come from here. More than 1,500 years ago, it was brought into the country by camel caravan, trundling along the Silk Road, introduced to Dunhuang from India and Arabia. 1,500 years later, cotton makes up to 70% of crops grown here. 60% of farmers' income is in some way connected to cotton. Apart from all the cotton waiting to be harvested, there are also the forests of the Gobi Desert. Coming into their own in autumn, for them it's the most beautiful season by far. Poplar trees. Because they can survive for thousands of years, the locals call them the heroes of the desert. And this part of the Gobi Desert witnesses the most vibrant moment of the autumn equinox period. For a while now, there's been a limited water supply on weekdays because it's been needed for irrigation. After harvest, farmers need less water, and the nearby reservoir will be drained into the surrounding Gobi Desert. Red willow and medicinal herb called camel sap grow wild. These are the favorite foodstuffs of the precious two-humped Bactrian camel. As long as 5,000 years ago, human beings living on the edge of the desert had domesticated the camel. Apart from providing camel fur and milk for humans, camels became the most important form of desert transportation. Fully loaded, stepping out onto the Silk Road. When the first batch of cotton seeds and many other precious materials were loaded onto the back of a camel and driven along the endless Silk Road, human civilization opened a whole other chapter. And now, China has the fastest trains in the world, massive world-beating airports, and there's really no need to use camel caravans anymore. But in Dunhuang, the locals still keep up the tradition of having camels. The Crescent Village. It got its name because it's located next to an oasis that's shaped like a crescent. The magic of this crescent moon oasis is that it's been surrounded by desert for thousands of years, but has never dried up. It looks like every villager in the Crescent Village is an expert in raising camels. Every tourist season, the camels in the village become the main means of transportation in Dunhuang. Thousands of tourists come here. Almost everyone wants to ride a camel, to get a feel for what crossing the desert Silk Road is really like. The autumn tourist season is around the time of China's National Day holiday. The villagers of the Crescent Village are preparing for their most lucrative time of the year.
这个长得像玉米，但是好像没什么玉米呢啊。
对，这个咱们是专门是喂骆驼的一种玉米，所以它不接这个咱们所说那个棒子啊。
它肯定就是不需要太多水，它就能这么长，是吧？
对对，它也属于这种耐旱的。
那就是到这个季节，他们就吃这个。
哦，对，到这个季节，秋风。
一个骆驼，能每天吃多少？
标准的就是100公斤。
100公斤，一天。
它能吃得很。
它能吃得很。
不停的那个嘴一直在不停的动。
人多，骆驼也多，
对，
水少。
国庆的时候，有一天达到4万人。骆驼的数量就是那样的。
不能再加骆驼吗？
哦，不能，这东西不能说是你随意说，我想加8个就8个，那不可能的。
为什么限制呢？是因为水的问题吗？
水的问题。这个东西你要吃要喝，那个骆驼呀，喝起来凶得很。
这边什么都限制，你种的多少，你有多少骆驼，等等等等，都是因为水得控制，
都是因为缺水。
那么多骆驼，它都属于是谁的呢？
月牙全村，全部农户的，你没看它这个是吧？它都有号的。
你得挂号，跟咱们在北京买车一样。
对对对对。
啊，
就是它牌照。
所以你们家有几个？几封？
是2个号4封。
那这一封是你的？
对。
年轻吗？
这个年轻。
怎么知道呢？
一个看它这个头骨，一个看它那个牙齿。岁数大的啊，牙齿就不行了。
它本来就是拉货用的，后来你要给它训练到拉人的，
对，
做旅游的，
对，最少4个人。
为什么4个人？
没有4个人就把它拿不住，它力气大的很。
那你可以教我怎么骑，怎么落？
可以，你就这样，
就把它，
对，骑，往前一点，稍微，对，
往前一点，
别这样了，我教你，你这样骑，这，你看。
跳，
大点声。
Come on, get down, come on，
跳
，come on， 跳，
还没。
他对你熟呢，
他
跟你熟呢。
他来回他烦了。
他烦了。
他烦了。
做的太
对，就是的。
那我们就让他歇一会儿吧。
The 256 villagers of the Crescent Village are extremely lucky. As the village is close to scenic sites popular with visitors, it's easy to take people there by camel caravan. They can easily earn a lot from tourism. Regardless of the farmers who grow cotton, or the camel herders making good business from visitors, or the many tourists who come from all over the world, camels have long been a symbol of Dunhuang. Right after the autumn equinox is China's National Day holiday. Apart from the Spring Festival, it's the longest stretch of holiday in China. This is peak season for seeing Dunhuang. Almost everyone who comes here will take a model camel home with them. Zhang Jianzhong used to be a Dunhuang cotton farmer, but now he goes by the name Camel Zhang.
就长一点毛。
给的便宜优惠。你要给他80，他肯定老板不好。
He himself grew cotton for more than 20 years, but when he got the idea of making camels for tourists, his life changed course completely, and he made people see Dunhuang a whole other way.
这些小片儿都是干嘛的？
这个是把料子全部拆开了以后，这个就是它是肚皮这一片儿，这是脖子那个竖毛，
这脖子
54片儿，才能成为一个骆驼的。
In order to meet the needs of his customers, Zhang Jianzhong designs 36 kinds, all different styles of camel craft. The workshop is preparing for the National Day holiday following the autumn equinox by making masses of model camels to sell.
全是骆驼的。
它的骆驼这是得赶着在做，我们这是天春车间。
为什么非要是手工的？你也可以去找第三方工厂去给你机器做的，是吗？
机器做的我们现在还没有找到像这样用机器做的。机器压它得封布，封布压起来还得组装。你像你的鞋子吧，你皮鞋是吧？
对。
我们现在手工拿那个底，你不知道见过没有？那一天一双底得拿1天或者2天。你现在工价太高了是吧？
是。国庆期间你能卖多少骆驼？
卖个2、3万吧。
2、3万。
2、3万个。
那你大概知道你是在多少地方在卖这个产品？
可能大小有200家吧。
有骆驼的地方，就应该有骆驼场。
有丝绸之路的地方，我们就有骆驼了。
这有意思的是吧？你以前是做什么呢？
最早我们是种地的，
种棉花的
啊，种棉花，真是种棉花，
是吧？
啊，
秋分对你来说，它一直就是一个旺季。以前你是摘棉花，到秋分的时候，
对。
现在你是在赶紧做几万个骆驼。
种棉花也忙，是做骆驼也忙。
Autumn is for harvest, beautiful, full of life, passionate even. But this stretch of desert in Dunhuang and the camel caravans give this solar term a legendary feel. On the way back, we see the poplar trees again. The wind is still whistling in my ear. It's hard to imagine how determined people had to be to travel here over 2,000 years ago. Treading these sand-swept paths, carrying the most incredible goods, encountering hardships and obstacles, traveling from grotto to grotto, they brought riches to Dunhuang and made this the place to do business at the autumn equinox solar term. The smell of yellow sand has accompanied civilization through the millennia. Here, I've seen the power and tenacity of life in the desert.